Hello YouTube, this is Expat Stacker, and to begin I'd like to give an update of my debt situation. I talked about how I got myself into some debt in my last video, and I paid it off, and I paid it off actually a lot quicker than I thought I would. I was motivated, I guess, because I felt like, well, kind of like an alcoholic who fell off the wagon and got drunk. I had sworn off debt, and yet I'd gotten into debt once again. So yeah, I was motivated to pay it off. I did raid my savings once again, and this is why I got into stacking in the first place. This video is a response to Expat Stacker's video, why do you stack? And I got into stacking to force myself to save money, and it's worked, because now I have over $20,000 worth of gold and silver. But beyond that, why do you want to build wealth? Well, I mentioned before that I'm a fan and a listener of Dave Ramsey. And for those who don't know who Dave Ramsey is, he's a talk show host who gives financial advice. And he's against loans and credit cards, and he teaches people how to get out of debt and build wealth. And he has a saying that he likes to use. It says, live like no one else, so later on you could live and give like no one else. And what he means by that is, work hard, live frugal, build your wealth, so later on you'll have the money to do what you want, to retire and live a comfortable life and do the fun things you want to do, but at the same time be able to help other people. And I really understand what he means because of what happened recently. And a couple days ago, my wife, sent me a message, and I was getting ready to go to sleep, and I was only going to get 5 hours of sleep. So I told her I can't talk. I gotta wake up early. I need to get to sleep. But she was like pretty emotional because we have several rental properties there in the Philippines, and one of her tenants hadn't been paying rent, so she told her she had to move out. So my wife went over there to check on her the other day, and she found that she had left, and I'm guessing abandoned her two kids. They hadn't eaten for 4 days. I'm saying I guess because I don't know, maybe she's in the hospital, maybe she has a reason, but those of us who are into stacking, most of us are living in richer countries, but it's the people that are living in the poorer countries that are really suffering right now, going through this pandemic and everything. And there's a lot of people out there who are literally starving, and this is the situation. I really wish I had the money to help those kids, to like adopt them or something, because I know my wife had to call the government, child services, whatever they got over there, and I know it ain't great over here, and I'm sure it's 100 times worse over there. So they're not gonna have a nice life. And I feel like I've helped a couple of friends I have over there in the Philippines, and they're really having a hard time over there. They had a serious lockdown with like the military on the street and everything, and people weren't working. People don't have any income. Luckily, my wife and my stepdaughter, they have me to send them money. Otherwise, they would have, big problems as well, because our businesses weren't running and my wife had no income. So really, that's why you want to stack. That's why you want to build wealth, so that not only you could take care of your family and your friends, but you could, help people when the time comes, and you could retire, live a comfortable life, and do those things you want to do, and not have to worry about putting food on the table. And I'm sure that lady, if she did abandon her kids, she probably broke. She just got to the point where she just broke inside her head. I mean, to abandon your kids like that and leave them to starve, something's broken in her head. And I know, if you go through, stress like that, not being able to feed your family, not having the money for bills and everything else, and rent, and you really can be so stressed out that you just break. And there's no excuse, but at the same time, I can understand how it could happen. So that's why you got to be prepared for the bad the bad days, because it's inevitable that they're going to come. And here in the States, there's a sticker that I see on cars sometimes. It says "No bad days," and this is a nice fantasy, but the reality is the bad days come. There's no way around it. They eventually, you're going to have a bad day. And it don't matter if you're rich or poor, and one thing I was thinking about is, the times when gold and silver won't help. The bad days, the really bad days, when gold and silver won't help. And one example is, my father had a friend who died when I was a kid. He got brain cancer. And, I didn't know this, but I knew he was wealthy, but I didn't know he was a multimillionaire. And he had sold his business for several $1 million, and 6 months later he got diagnosed with brain cancer and ended up dying from that. And you think, okay, all those millions couldn't help him. Gold and silver couldn't help him. But again, answer this question. If you had to go through that with millions of dollars, with gold and silver, or without, which would you choose? Even though it couldn't help him, even though he died, he was able to leave his friends and family money, and he left, me and my brother money for college. So even in this situation, even though it couldn't save his life, it could give him something that he could pass on to his loved ones, and that's a good thing. That's a good reason to have wealth, to prepare for the bad days, and however bad they may be, have something that you could give.